Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
When Charlie Kirk was assassinated,
Stop, folks! Stop!
graphic close-up footage of the moment the bullet hit Kirk that news organisations were careful not to broadcast spread rapidly on social media anyway.
We are here live at Utah Valley State University. I don't know if that was shots or if that was fireworks.
Even those who didn't want to see it did see it, including many of Auckland teacher Martinique's pupils.
They were telling me that they had seen someone be shot and that they had watched it on TikTok. And it seemed pretty widespread that most students in the class had seen it.
What age students?
The students I teach are from 13 to 15 years old.
And what did they tell you about what they had seen and the issues it was causing them?
So initially they said to me that they had seen a preacher being shot.
She says carrying on with class as normal was not an option for some.
But it was clear for a number of students they were not able to get the picture out of their head, and that's what one boy had said to me. Like, he said, "Miss, I can't get that picture out of my head." They were definitely struggling to concentrate. I think it's, we weren't meant to watch something like that and then walk in and write a paragraph about a book you've read.
How did you respond to that?
I just, in the moment, just tried to hear that person. We were trying to do an assessment, so I just gave them the space to not be okay for a little bit and just to take a break from the work we were doing. But it's really distressing to me that what they are saying is so graphically violent. And, when I sort of talk to them about what that is in reality, like it's a crime, it's a murder.
Given their age, Martinique says most did not understand exactly what they'd seen.
And so we said, you're not meant to see things like that. That's not something any of us should be watching, and you've seen it through, a stranger's posting on TikTok. They don't have the skills to be able to work out what is information from a reputable source, and that's been filtered through through a journalist or someone who can.
So
say,
do you think that they thought that this video was on the news? Or
that is how they get news. That is news to them.
The chief censor, Carolyn Flora, says research shows young New Zealanders are seeing extreme violence online more frequently.
So when we went and spoke to children and young people in New Zealand, we spoke to people aged 12 to 25 about their experiences, and they overwhelmingly told us that this was becoming a more normal experience to see extreme content online, including real life extreme violence.
The Classification Office told the Herald it didn't get any referrals to classify the Kirk assassination footage, and says video its staff saw didn't meet the threshold for being classified as objectionable. However, Flora says her office is seeing more referrals overall from law enforcement agencies about violent content.
So the biggest category of objectionable content that we classify has always been child sexual exploitation material, but the biggest growing category is violent extremist and extreme violence material. So particularly we have noticed that since 2019.
She says her office can act relatively quickly, meaning harmful content can be made illegal and those sharing it could be charged.
We took the classification process from start to finish in 4 hours in response to a live stream stabbing at a school in Finland. So this office is very, very nimble and responsive, particularly when things are going viral.
She believes social media companies have improved their processes to deal with objectionable content circulating on their platforms.
So firstly, what I would say, in my 3 years as Chief Censor, I have noticed a change in what and how quickly social media platforms will respond to extreme content that is going viral. Once upon a time in 2019, the Christchurch mosque attack video went everywhere. It was on everybody's feed. That wouldn't happen today. It would be caught. A live stream would be caught even before it started. So the platforms are taking action.
But Martinique is not convinced preventing harmful content from spreading on social media is a priority for big tech companies.
Yeah, I guess one of the issues I have is that there's no filter, and if any protections that the social media companies might put in place are pretty abysmal and sometimes retrospective. So we can't take away that they've seen it, and I don't think that should be allowed on those platforms. And it certainly normalises that they had seen such graphic violence. It is really commonplace for young people to film fights that are had outside of school or within school, to share that footage, and yeah, I guess that further perpetuates the recording and sharing of violence that is just really normal for them now.